What's up, family? So this morning, I want to talk to you about fear. I was thinking about fear a little while ago, and I want to encourage you, right? So if you're in a situation where you need to make a decision about something, perhaps the decision, like there's no clear answer on what you should do. Like, let's say there's two right answers. You don't know which one to choose. And so you're stuck because you don't want to make the wrong move. The thing about failure or pain is it can produce fear in you. So next time, if you made some bad decisions, there's some decisions that I've made that I feel like cost me a lot. And so now when I approach those same kind of decisions, I'm apprehensive. The reason I'm apprehensive is because I don't want to make another mistake. And as I think about that, how do I know that the decision I made at that time was a mistake just because it hurt me? That may have been God's plan. But anyway, my point is, don't allow fear to control your mind while you're trying to do life on this planet. So I like this little acronym for fear that says false evidence appearing real. Why is that accurate? The reason that's accurate is because it is false. So fear is created in your mind. And I use the word intentionally, created. So think about this. So fear, I tell people fear thrives in darkness. Okay. So how long are you going to be afraid of the monster under your bed? Until you look under the bed. Because in your mind, the monster is real. But it's not until you shine a light on fear, you look under the bed and you say, oh, ain't no monster under the bed. Then the fear goes away. Why were you afraid at first? You made it up. And you made it up about the future. So fear is never about right now. I heard a story about a guy who was afraid of heights. So when he was on the ground, he was fearful of climbing the mountain because he's afraid of heights. But once he conquered that and he climbed the mountain and he was at the top, then he was afraid of falling. He hadn't failed yet, but he was afraid of falling. But then he fell. When he was falling, he was not afraid of falling anymore. What was he afraid of? Right, landing. Always about the future. Here's the problem. Since we've been on the planet, we've never known the future. Ever. Yes, the weatherman helps us out with his predictions. Those are really good guesses based on history or whatever, but we've never known the future. So here's my point about fear. Whatever you're thinking about the future, you're making it up. So when you say, I'll never have the husband I want. When you say, I'll never have the marriage I want. When you say, I'll never have my dream job. You're making that up. You hadn't been to the future. But here's the problem. When you make that up, you're going to interact with it in your mind as if it's real. So let me say it this way. Think about this. How many times have you been frustrated that you couldn't fly? I don't mean on a plane. I mean like go outside and just mount up on wings and fly. Well, how many times have you been frustrated by that? Zero, I hope. Because if you've been frustrated by that and you're an adult, you might need a check. But you don't get frustrated because you can't fly. Why? Because you already believe you can't. So you don't even try. Now I know you may say, well, no, we can't fly. We can agree to disagree, right? But I'm telling you, that ain't the reason you ain't try to fly. You are not trying to fly because you believe you can't, not because you know you can't. But the point is this. The point is this. When you believe something, it affects how you live in the present. So if I believe I can't fly, I'm not going to even try to fly. If I believe I'll never have the marriage I want, I'm not going to try to have one. If I believe, man, I'll never find that perfect fit wife, I ain't going to look for her. Or you ain't going to look for her, whatever the case. You get what I'm saying? So don't let fear rob you of your future, because fear is a thief of dreams. 1,000%. Fear will rob you. So what then is the answer? Because fear is real, right? Well, it's actually not real, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it's a real thing that we deal with. So what do we do? How do we get around that? How do we live a productive life? If I've been hurt before, if I've been let down, if I feel like, or if I believe I made a choice and it worked out not in my favor, how then do I overcome that to keep being productive in life? Because here's what you don't want to do. Play it safe. And I'm speaking in general, right? Caution is good. Don't just be hasty and just running into situations, but fear is not caution. And sometimes we think we're being cautious when we're being fearful. The Bible says that God has not given us a spirit of fear. So where'd you get that from? Wasn't God. The answer or an answer to fear is to operate in faith. Because both of them are about the future. Do you understand that? When I'm afraid about what's coming, I'm making that up. But when I have faith, I'm believing something positive that I want to happen, but it's in the future too. So if I make it up, because I have to make it up, because we've never known the future, right? So if I'm making it up, I may as well make it up in a way that's positive so that I can at least function at optimal performance in the present. So then, by faith, if I say, man, next year is going to be the most amazing year I have ever had. When I say that, then my mind is going to get with me to start working hard now. So when I go into next year, that can continue to go. And perhaps. But if I believe that next year is going to be, or if I believe next month is going to be the most terrible month, I'm not going to, you think you are, but you're not going to do the things that you need to do today to prevent that. What you're going to do, more than likely, is worry about that, and then you're going to help bring it to pass. We call that self-fulfilling prophecy. And so then when that happens, you're going to be like, see, I knew it. You didn't know it. You made it happen because you followed fear instead of faith. And all I'm telling you is, I hope I'm being clear, but all I'm trying to tell you is, if you're trying to make a difficult decision, and it's difficult because you don't know which way to go, right? There's not an obvious right or wrong. Make the choice. Because here's the thing. So when it comes to making choices in life, especially when there's no wrong choice, I do believe that God gives you the freedom to make the choice. And if you make it, should I move to Atlanta or not? There's nothing that's, yay or nay, job, children, school, nothing. I just don't know if I should do it or not. Do you want to do it? That's the first thing. I want to move to Atlanta. Okay, so what's stopping you? And if the things stopping you are molehills instead of mountains, if those are little things, make the choice. Because here's what's going to happen, or here's what's not going to happen. If you make the choice and you go to Atlanta, and then it doesn't work out the way you wanted to, God's not going to stop being God. He's not going to stop giving you direction. Like, see, you should have waited. I wasn't ready to tell you yet, and you went on out there. Now you're just going to have to figure it out. That's not the God I serve. So, as a matter of fact, I'm going to end with this. I got a story for you. So there's a story in, I want to say Kings. So Elijah, the prophet, went to Ahab. Ahab was an evil king. So Elijah told Ahab, it's not going to rain until I say so. And then guess what happened? It didn't rain. But you know what we don't have? We have nowhere recorded in scripture that God spoke to Elijah to tell him that. So why then, because Elijah can't control the rain, why then did God honor what Elijah said when God didn't tell Elijah to say that? Well, we presume God didn't tell him to say it because it's not written. What I take from that is when you do things and when you speak in a way that aligns with God's revealed will in his word, God will line up with what you're doing because he's already ordained that, right? So whatever Elijah, whatever he knew about God or whatever, he said that and God upheld his word. My point is, make the move. If it's utterly wrong, guess who's going to help you? God. He's not going to leave you. And why am I even talking about this? Really, because I was thinking about some things that I was fearful about that I'm moving through. And the reality is, on this planet, If you want to have a more than ordinary life, you're not going to be able to play it safe, because all of the greatness that you're looking for is on the other side of difficulty. It's on the other side of risk. Yeah. So I hope that encourages you. Don't let fear control you. Fear will rob you of your dreams. And because here, so I got to say this part. When you allow fear to dominate your mind, fear always, I'm telling you, always bring its evil twin with him. Pride. Pride and fear are the evil twins. And when they show up, they only bring destruction with them. Because when you're fearful, who are you thinking about? You. If the house is on fire, or if your job is on fire, if the where you live at, where you work at, if the building is on fire, and you're afraid, you're trying to get out, you're thinking about you. Same thing when you're in pain. When you're in pain, you're thinking about you. Rightfully so, it's your pain. But my point is, when that translates out into the intangible world where, I'm fearful or I'm in pain, and then that's causing me to focus on my pain, now I start injuring the relationships around me, right? My fear causes me to hyper-focus on me. Here's another, when I was talking about the fire, when you're fearful and you're trying to escape, the only thing you're focused on is getting out. You're not worried about, oh man, did we water the flowers? You're not worried about somebody, running out the building, somebody dropped some paper on the floor. Only thing you're thinking, so you're in survival mode, means you have tunnel vision, meaning you cannot experience life. So when you are living a fearful life, it's the same way. It's like going down the street. You're trying to get to the hospital because somebody in your car got shot. I don't know. Examples. Somebody in your car got shot, and you're trying to get into the hospital because the ambulance is too late, right? You don't see none of the billboards. You don't see none of the cars. You don't see no. All you know. Okay, that's the exit. Your tunnel vision. But that's what fear does. It's for a time and a season and a moment. But most of the times, the things that we're afraid of, they're not real. That's all I'm telling you. They're not real. Go to God. If you don't get an answer, choose the best one. Do not be one of those kind of believers where you can't make a move unless God speaks, because guess what? He already spoke. 66 books of speaking. Okay. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all's Wednesday, and I hope this blessed you. Take care.